right, Kris, season 2. Let's go. We're not easing in. We're bringing the rain.
We're not playing around this season. Season 1 was great, but we're bringing more thunderstorms. We're bringing more crazy stories, and we're bringing more sideways rain to all our listeners out there. JR, I'm so excited, man. You have no idea. Happy to be back.
That's right. We're not around this year. Tune in.
Let's get into it. Here comes the rain, baby. Let's go.
Season 2, first guest. We have Pranav. I can't wait to get into it. Kris, how excited are you about this first episode?
Man, it feels like it's been a year since season 1. So I can't tell you how excited I am to be back in front of the camera and on this podcast with you, and to bring more exciting entrepreneurs onto our platform to talk about their journeys and their sideways rain. Today, we have a close friend of mine, Pranav Gangele, who is a huge rock star in big law and also entrepreneurship within the law space. So super excited to have him on. Pranav, welcome to the show.
Man, so excited to be on with you guys. And every time I can get JR and Kris in the same room at the same time, it's a true pleasure. So I'm excited and thankful for having you guys bring me on.
Awesome. You know what I love about this is the time of year we're kicking off season 2. This is the time of year when you get work done when everybody else is being lazy, because I've heard a lot of kids are back to school, Halloween's coming up, then it's the holidays, and everybody's sitting back in their chairs and they're just waiting for the new year to come to start their new resolutions. We're not waiting. We're diving right in.
No, we're diving right in, and I couldn't be more excited to have you on, Pranav. I know you have so much to share with our audience, but before I give you your flowers, how about you tell the people a little about yourself, what you're doing currently, and kind of how you got into your career?
Sure. So yeah, like Kris said, my name is Pranav Gangele. I am a corporate and startup lawyer here in the DMV, which if you guys are not from the DMV, it's Northern Virginia, DC, and Maryland, parts of Maryland, not all of Maryland. I am a dad of 2. I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old, so I'm constantly shuffling all over the place with these guys. Plus, my client base is all startups, and so essentially, even though the founders might be older than me, not always. Most of my founders are younger than me. I treat them like my babies, so I'm always kind of protecting them and kind of guiding them through all the shitstorm that they go through and sideways, right?
I don't know if I like being called your baby.
JR, you are my baby. We're not going to disclose the things that you do.
Let's talk about that. So you were at a big firm before, you made a pivot, you're sort of building your own book of business, and you took a risk. What was that like? You're kind of in it right now. What sort of anxieties come with that? What feels good about it? Where's your head at?
Oof. All right. So it's like a loaded question.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll back it up. So the legal industry is crazy, right? You start your legal journey by going to law school, and you take your LSAT, and you're kind of ranked on a percentile. And if you're in the top percentile, you get in the top law schools. And if you're in the top law schools, you're kind of guaranteed a job at the top law firms, which pay you a ton of money. If you're not at the top law schools, you've got to beat out 90% of your class based on how you're ranked to get a job at these top law firms to make that top line money, or else you're kind of figuring it out. I was super ambitious in law school. I grinded. I finished at the top of my class, or top 10 of my class, and I got the big law job. And in big law, it's just another kind of hustle, right? You've got to bill your hours. You've got to be constantly on call, respond to any email, whether that comes in at 6 a.m. or at midnight, right? Boom, you got to respond. You got to turn these massive documents. So you're always on. And I loved it. I loved every second of it because I was learning so much. I was helping these startups. I was doing big M&A deals. I felt really, really important and I made a ton of money, which is obviously great. Now, flash forward to, having children, kind of figure out that there's more to life than just, working and making money. I found like peace and really like my purpose when I'm spending time with my family. And for me, I kind of reestablished my why, right? Like, why am I doing this? At first it was, I went to law school because I wanted to hustle, make money, and help businesses, right? That was it. That was kind of an immature version of me. That's me at like 22 years old. Now, in my 30s, I'm reassessing my whys. And the good thing about life is you can keep pivoting. You don't have to stay in the same lane. Like, you're not in, cement as soon as you start your career. And so for me, I realized my why is I want to take care of people and help people out, right? So whether that's my baby JR or my other clients or my family, right? I want to be able to help everyone. And I also want to be able to spend my time in really meaningful ways, whether it's like giving back to the community, spending time with my clients, networking. So when Kris says, I need, someone that does X, Y, Z, do you know anybody? I can, connect him immediately, sit in on that call, be the person that guides him through that. And so I realized that working at this big law firm while making a ton of money and having a great experience wasn't conducive to the life that I envisioned myself living. And so, I was sweating over this decision because, these are golden handcuffs. This is like a guaranteed big salary. My family will be good. My kids will be good. My kids will be good. Like, I don't have to worry about the money aspect of life. Whereas if I jump from this place, I'm into this world of uncertainty where I've got to build my own brand. I've got to build my own client base. I've got to, start being really conscious and mindful about where my money is going, how I'm spending, where I'm investing. And so that kept me up quite a bit at night, right? Especially from a perspective of, will I be able to provide for my family? And, at the end of the day, I bet on myself. I have confidence that, I'm going to be good no matter what. As long as I got my people and the person that I am, my brain and my health, I'll be good. Right. And so I took the risk and here I am. I'm feeling so optimistic on life. Greatest decision I ever made. It's only going to get better. More to come.
That's awesome, man. And shout out to you for making that move because that is not easy. Change is not easy. And the unknown is not easy to take on head on like you did. I want to ask, was there a defining moment within Big Law that you knew exactly this is the time where I got to pivot and I got to make a change? Or was it more of a series of just experiences and trials and tribulations that you went through that led you to make the pivot?
Yeah, it was the latter. And like, you like, it's funny how life works. I'm sure you guys feel this way, or maybe the audience might feel this way too, right? Like your body sometimes reacts to things before your mind can even catch up, right? So like, you might have the shakes inside that you're nervous about something before you can even comprehend that you're nervous about something. Right. And so like my body was reacting in ways that I could tell like something wasn't right in the environment that I was in. And so that kind of like led me to more introspection. Right. I was like, why is my body feeling this way? And I started meditating more and started being more mindful about the things that I was doing and the energy that I was giving out. And in that route, that's when I started transforming that. I see the environment that I'm in is not conducive to the life that I'm trying to live. And, there's also, it doesn't help when you're like working till like 2, 3 a.m., wake up early, you've got a trillion emails and you're like missing every moment in your kid's life and nothing is ever good enough for anybody, right? You're letting your clients down because you're working on 1,000 different things. You're letting your family down because you're not present when you're with them because you've got so many different things. You're letting your health down because you can't give yourself any time. So everything's failing. And so I knew I needed a shift.
Yeah. Building a career is certainly a journey, and it has its ups and downs, and it has its moments to grind, and it has its moments to step back. And the cool thing about being in your 20s, getting out of college, and the way you did, Pranav, is graduating top of your class. You had a couple things to lean on. It's your education and your youth and your hustle, right? I don't have hardly any other obligations. I can be all in on this one thing. Even if I have a significant other, a wife, whatever, like maybe she's all in on her thing and I'm all in on mine and we're in this thing together. you throw a baby in that mix and things change real fast. That's what happened with us, at least on our side too. And you go, oh man, I can't do that hustle anymore if I'm going to be who I need to be here. And the cool part about that is if you put the time and hustle in early in your career and you've given yourself a little space to do it, now instead of leaning on your hustle, you're leaning on your experience. So you don't have to hustle as hard because you've been in the trenches, you've done the work, you know how it works, and you can work smarter and not necessarily harder, which is a cool transition.
Man, those are really wise words. I feel like you sound like the elder statesman.
I think I am the elder here. So
who's the baby now?
Yeah, right. Chris, you don't have any babies, so technically you're
No. So I'm learning from you guys. I'm taking all the knowledge I can from both of you because I see how much both of you hustle and grind, and I see how both of you handle the family aspect as well. So I'm just a sponge right now, soaking it all up until it's my time. But
can I pivot first? I have a share quick.
Yeah.
So after I had my second child, like I'm sure JR can relate. Like the first one's kind of easy because you can play 2-on-1 defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got the one, you could give it to your wife, you could do what you need to do, you like blow the gym, whatever, and you come back, you trade, so you can have her time, right? The 2v1 was great. When you have two, it's 1-on-1, right? You got like a baby, you trade and you get a toddler back, and it's a terrible trade. Chris, who I love dearly, we always get to hang out. We used to hang out way more than we do now after our second child. Was like, you know what, PG, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, I'm gonna come to you. Like, when are you available? Like, I want to see you. I want to talk. I want to hang. I want to like share what I'm doing in my life, what I'm doing in my business. We can talk sports. I was like, dude, the kids will be asleep at like 9:30. We're at 9:30. I'm gonna like have my door open. Like, I'll be upstairs, like doing bedtime. Just like sneak in, be in the basement. I'll come see you. It's 9:30. He texts me. He's here. I'm like, oh, the baby's. I'll be back down. Baby's crying, won't go to sleep. I like run down. It's like 10 o'clock. I'm like, Chris, the baby's asleep. Like I hear the monitor go off. I got to run back up, make a new bottle. It's like between like 9:30 and like 11 o'clock. I saw Chris for maybe 5 minutes and he's sitting in my basement.
True story. And while I was waiting for him in the car, you could hear everything going on. You can hear bedtime stories being read, the kids screaming, people running up and down stairs. Like, I don't know how you guys do it, but that's sideways rain in itself. But I feel like it's the best sideways rain because it's temporary and you get to learn and grow with your child. So I'm sure you guys love it.
You find out who your real friends are. That's for sure. Having children is isolating, and people who don't want to show up won't. And so, I mean, the fact that you showed up, Chris, and made that effort that doesn't happen very often. So,
No.
Kudos to you.
Definitely over these last 5 years, I've found out who my true friends are.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'll call Chris one of those.
Nice.
Definitely. Most definitely. And for the listeners out there, just a little context about Pranav and I. We grew up playing basketball together. We went to high school together. We went to George Mason University when he was starting out his law degree. So we've been through a lot together and just grown together as men from children in high school to all the way to now, where we're business partners. And Pranav is supporting WIFT as we know it today. So it's cool to see everything come full circle. And while we're live, I just want to say thank you for being such a great friend and helping us along this journey of entrepreneurship. It's been great to add you to the team.
For sure.
Oh man, I'll just stop you right there and say, please don't share all of our secrets.
We'll say no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, sort of on that theme, this is business, right? And we're certainly working together and we have a job to do, but you make a lot of friends in this space. And certainly, Pranav, you probably made some friends at your big firm. Was there a relational component that was difficult when you moved over?
Definitely. I had built some really strong relationships when I was in my big law firm. And I had some excellent mentors who were devastated when they learned that I was pivoting. So it was a tough one, tough pill to swallow for everybody. I love everyone that I worked with. But as I was making the change, I realized that my network wasn't as strong as I probably wished it was when I was in Big Law, because Big Law, between like the very successful folks that work in there, the high achievers, there's also the phenomenal client base, the service providers that all kind of link together. And had I had this moment in mind back then, I would have been way more intentional with networking, right? Like I would have really, harnessed those relationships that were very much available to me when I was in Big Law, rather than just kind of like my internal like colleagues. Now, like flash forward to where I'm at now, I'm so much more intentional with networking. And that's not saying that like every time I go network, I need to like build a relationship that will have an immediate transactional outcome, right? It's not like I need you to be my client or I need, you to pay me, like any of those things. It's just, can I build a meaningful connection that I can either help or I can bring someone to that would use their services to help them, right? And so like the way I think about networking right now is like truly just like building a genuine connecting base of people that you can bleep this out, fuck with.
That's awesome. We were just talking before this podcast. I had a client who I call friend now fly into town for the weekend, and they're spending time in the Twin Cities, and we had them over to the house last night. And I think that's what you're talking about. Like initially we started as a business relationship, but that evolved over time. We've known each other since 2018, 2019. And, to have that person sitting at my dining room table and sit there with my kids and my wife and my family and bring that relationship beyond transactional is really important. And if you want to go to work and enjoy it, and if you want to go to work and not have it just be a job, you have to seek out and nurture those kind of relationships because they don't just happen.
That's exactly right, JR. So, and to that point, like as a lawyer, right, I can't separate my like job from my life. Like this is just me. Like I'm not just like a lawyer 9 to 5 and then Pranav like, the rest of the time. So for me, it's like, this is what I come, this is what I bring. Like these relationships matter to me, whether it's I need you to like review this contract and negotiate it against the other side, or dude, I'm stressed out, man. Like, my co-founder is just not doing what he needs to do. And can we talk about it? Right. Like I want to be able to have those conversations outside of just billing the hours.
Most definitely. And what I've learned from networking is you never know the value that the other person is getting from you. That will show itself in times where you never know when it's going to come up. And a perfect example of that is when I was working with American Express GPT, I was traveling a lot doing on-site meetings, and that's how JR and I crossed paths. And when I met JR, I thought he was this really, really successful businessman that was running his own production company, and he's on the ground running all of these events, right? When we met, it was a simple, hey, how you doing? My name's Kris. We're going to be working together on this event. We worked the event, and that was it. Next thing you know, I show up to another event, and I see JR. And we just built a relationship before work, before, hey, can you do this for me? It was just two guys working for a mutual client that showed each other respect. And fast forward to today, the value that JR got from our connection was different than the value that I got. But both of us felt the commonality to get together and start a business together. And that is a perfect example of just pouring into people. You never know the outcome. And I'm super, super glad that we were able to cross paths and just build our relationship week by week, month by month. And to see what it's blossomed into today is really amazing.
Damn, Kris, I'm a sucker for good love stories.
We are great. We're so awesome.
I will say he was a tough one though in the beginning. He's super stern. He has a poker face all the time, but then once you kind of like do a good job, he softens up. So keep that in mind for that.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, that's a funny thing. JR doesn't even know this. Like, my first maybe 2 conversations with JR, Kris, Kris is on the line. I'm talking to JR as CEO of Lyft. And Kris calls me. It's like, by the way, like JR, he's a little reserved. Like he's going to be really calculated. He's going to be analytical, and you're not going to really get any sort of emotions from him. So don't take it personally. I know you're like a guy that's like warms and fuzzies. Like he's not going to give you that. I'm like, it's all right, man. I deal with all types of people. Like JR's a good dude. I could already tell.
Yeah, you gotta let people earn it. But yeah, it's something I work on. When we talk about AI, everybody's like, what do you use AI for today? I was like, to make my communication softer.
That's fun.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the storm, the transition from big law to a smaller boutique firm, going out on your own, building your own book of business. That's a big jump. Let's call it self-induced sideways rain. Pranav was cloud farming and making his own storm. What was your umbrella moment? You know, what's the thing that helped you through the storm and sort of said, like, kept the rain off your back?
First of all, having amazing clients like you guys, right? So shout out to the WIF team, shout out to my other clients that just hold it down for me, making all of this possible. And then more importantly, my wife back home, man, she's such a rock, and she's like true believer in me, no matter whether I'm like, you know, shit-faced drunk and slapping all of my words. She knows that I'm that guy and that she loves me no matter what, right? And like, you know, she's at me at my lowest of lows and my highest of highs. And so she keeps me so super grounded and helps me kind of get through it all. And so for me, like, you know, having her and having, you know, my kids and kind of the person who I am, my relationships, I know, like, even if I hit financial rock bottom, like I'm okay, right? Like I'll be fine. And so it gives me that sort of like, I can take on this risk and do more.
That's unique, and not everybody has that. So thankfully, we have that too. I think we're all in the same boat, and it's not a one-person journey to build a business. There's the other side of it, and we were talking the other day in the leadership group, or maybe it was even here. It was just like, how do you compartmentalize this? And you know, when you're in the office, how do you stay unemotional? And haven't always been good at this, but one thing I've been better at lately is not being emotional in the office, taking care of things objectively, sticking to strategy. And then I go home and then I can just tell my wife, like, what the fuck, right? Like, you just have that sounding board and you just talk it out, and it takes it to a different level. And just to have that, because it's lonely at the top, right? You're running a business. You're either telling people what to do, or you're somebody's enemy, or, you know, you have a bad perception of yourself. You don't have a sounding board like everybody else does. So if you can go home and have that, I mean, you're winning at life.
Most definitely. That's been huge for me in the last year or so, because JR, to your point, if you're not doing it at work, where are you doing it? Who are you venting to? Who are you talking to unapologetically like yourself? And that's been my rock as well with Dana. So shout out to all the Ys. Shout out to G for being the rock for Pranav. It's really an integral part in being an entrepreneur and getting through the day to day and having that work-life balance that it seems like we talk about it on every episode. Like, work-life balance is so important when you're in this space.
Yeah, it's so funny because at the big law firms, they don't use the term work-life balance. They use the term work-life integration.
Mm.
Ooh,
that feels like theft.
That's deep. Yeah. Sounds like severance.
And so that, like, it evokes a lot of thoughts, right? Because, you know, like I was alluding to earlier, it's like, can you really separate the work you from the life you? Like, is it not just all part of the same package?
Yeah.
It is.
And that's where I feel, as long as you're working for somebody else, it's always going to be like that. And I feel like that's where entrepreneurship rears its head, where all of us get to a point where we want to work for ourselves. We don't want to give that time to someone else. And I feel like that's a good segue into my next question, Pranav. So you went through all of your experiences in big law. You decided it was time to make a pivot. You've made the pivot. I think you've been in the pivot for about 4 months now, give or take.
About 3, yeah, 2.5. I think 3's coming up.
Has there ever been a time where you said, man, I miss big law, or I miss all of these things about big law that I don't have now?
Yeah. I mean, like, so, like, you know, for context, I'm at a small law firm right now. So I haven't, like, pivoted fully to start my own law firm or start my own practice. I'm building my own practice there. Yeah. And so when I got to the smallest shop, right, like, the first week, I was like, holy shit. Like, I don't have, like, my awesome secretary who does, like, all of, like, my admin work for me. I don't have, like, the top tier technology package that, like, makes everything so seamless. I don't have, like, the overnight staff that I can send like a messed up document to say like, please fix the formatting. And when I wake up, it's done, right? Like I don't have like all of this to, my like, the box, right, at the Capital One arena that Kris has been to, that the firm provided, or, like the massive salary that like every 2 weeks I'm like, oh, I'm rich. All this makes sense again, right? Like all that stuff. I definitely miss it. I would say I miss it all the time. Honestly, I do miss it all the time. And like my super smart colleagues, right, that I can like call, like when you go to a big law firm, also the benefit is, right, you've got like these super smart people that are specialists in their own lanes, right? So like if you have an issue that comes up with like employment benefits or tax or like intellectual property or like export, import, CFIUS, all these different things, right? I have someone in my like already like prepackaged network that I can call on that'll have like the exact answer that I need. And so, when I pivoted, like I had to build that all by myself, right? Like now I'm building out my network of specialists where I can call and, like it's a relationship now where I need to like pay them for this call, but like I can call them and have them answer questions for me, whereas I had that kind of prepackaged already. So I definitely miss all the bells and whistles quite often, and all the people that I worked with. But it's for the better. I feel much better about my life.
So we've talked about the good side, the rosy stuff. What still makes you uncomfortable day to day?
What makes me uncomfortable day to day is like I feel like I'm not exactly where I want to be when it comes to the client delivery side of things, right? There is a next step that I want to take that really, really pushes my legal practice to the next level. And that's like fully streamlined, like legal technology, AI services, like a sort of like concierge website where when we're working together on projects, you have like a live status update, like on the projects. You kind of have like a ledger of kind of action points that have been taken on that, right? You've got a working repository of all your stuff that we can collaborate on virtually, right? It's just this like next level of like client services that like keeps me up at night because I know it's so possible. I know I just got to like keep grinding to like get it right. And once I get it, like I think that like my clients will be beyond satisfied because of the level of service that they're not paying anything additional for, right? It's just part of the package they get when they get me.
Yeah, and in our prep for this, you mentioned a little bit of the billable hour model and tech forcing a change. What does that look like in that integration and change for you and evolution?
Right. And so, like a lot of the work that I do, it's kind of mundane in the sense that similar documents, similar words are getting changed and tweaked. And so it takes man hours to do it right now. But, with the advent of LLMs that are specifically here to like be able to, predict the right words and the right text through prompts. I think this is like the perfect application to help streamline this, what is normally a very like laborious task of changing a few words in a document and opening a bunch to kind of like having the robot do it. And, with that being said, right, like the current way lawyers make money for the most part is they bill by the hour. Right. And so every time you call them, every time you have a document they're working on, they turn the timer on, they tell them they check off the box and start working. And once they're done, they send you a bill of how long they took to work on the projects. Right. It's not going to make sense if it took me, it took the AI 10 minutes to do a project that, it's probably an hour or two of value. Right. So now we have to think about how are we going to start packaging these sort of deliveries. And it's no longer going to be, it took me X amount of hours do this project. It's going to be, this project is this type of value, or we're going to charge flat fees for it. Is the way I'm thinking the model is going to change. And it takes away the incentive to work a ton, right, on matters. It makes things more efficient. And then the value add is like the communication bit of, can I explain to you what is done, right? Can you take this and use it in your business and like apply it to your business successfully?
Yeah, I imagine the billable model hour almost incentivizes you to work longer, not smarter. And this instead, if everything's packaged price, you're going to try to be as efficient as possible.
Exactly. Right. And so I completely agree with that. Shout out to all the lawyers that have been doing this for a long time. You guys are incredible. But I really think that if you can live a balanced life where you don't have to work so much because you're not incentivized to work more in order to make more money, right? You can just focus on the outcomes and the services provided. You can do better things with your time, right? Like give back to the community, spend time with your family, do some business development, right? Like, so I'm excited kind of for the prospects of getting my time back with the advent of legal technology.
That's awesome. And I feel like it'd also make it more enticing for clients because now they're not counting the clock every time they talk to you. They know that they're going to get the service or the goal achieved that they're looking to achieve at a better cost. So
That's exactly right. Like, and my goal for you guys as you advance in the business, and it actually makes sense, is like to be able to have some sort of relationship where you won't be charged for every single call or anything like that. You can pick up the phone, call me anytime, any emails, and it's kind of pre-bundled in like sort of like a reoccurring service fee.
Yeah, it's funny. We talk to lawyers quite a bit. Things come up. Not with you, Pranav, but when I get on the phone, I know it's every 10th of an hour, so every 6 minutes, right? So if I get to 7, I'm going to go to 12 because I'm paying for the next 5.
It's funny because I like emailed JR early on because, back to the comment about JR being a little prickly, and so me trying to get him more fuzzy, giving him hugs. I was like, JR, let's chat. By the way, this call's free. Then I didn't feel the pressure of JR counting the minutes down on those calls.
Yeah.
Oh man,
you knew the weight of my heart. Free.
So Pranav, what would you say is one of the biggest misconceptions about lawyers in your space, in the entrepreneurship startup realm? What's some of the biggest misconceptions that you hear from clients or friends or other colleagues in your network?
Yeah, that you guys don't need us, right? Like when you're starting a business, right? And like, okay, when you're just doing it by yourself, maybe you don't. You used to talk to a lawyer still, like in the very beginning, it'll be very cost effective to do so. But like the thought that like a clerky or kind of these like formation websites, these like kind of prepackaged documents that you can get online will get you right is totally wrong. And it puts you in a bad position as you kind of grow the business, right? Like an example that like immediately jumps to my mind is, if you've got 2 or 3 kind of co-founders that are coming together to start a business early, right? First, you might not know exactly what type of entity you choose, and you automatically think of the word LLC. You do an LLC. But then you kind of lose, you lose kind of the educational piece of why should I consider a C Corp? Why should I consider an S Corp? Right. And there's a lot of benefits that come with a C Corp, right? For example, QSPS treatment, if you go and sell the company within 3 to 5 years. And S Corp, you get to have the benefits of pass-through kind of taxation, right? And so like there's a couple of different things that you need to have the knowledge of before you make that decision. Then when you go and issue this equity, right, you might think right now, oh yeah, I'll split it 33%, right? Like we're all equal partners here. But no one's ever thought through what happens if, one of the partners finds like a new shiny gig or like gets a girlfriend and isn't as involved in the business. And like now the 2 of the 3 are rolling their sleeves doing all of the work. The third isn't doing shit. And, like you guys have an equal share in the pie. Right. And so that's when like a lawyer like me comes in and say, well, guys, everyone should be subject to vesting. Right. So everyone gets vested over 4 years. Right. You guys have all skin in the game. If anyone leaves, you kind of lose sort of any of that unvested piece. And it keeps that incentive of staying with the business, doing the work. Right. And like that's just like the last example will be like assignment of IP. Right. You guys aren't even thinking like, oh, we're all working on this together on our personal laptops. It's all in the company. Right. And then one of these guys leaves. He's the one that did all the code. He never signed the IP assignment, right? You go to sell the company 5-6 years later. The buyers are doing this crazy due diligence exercise, which I've been a part of many times, and they find that kind of missing link, and they go ask you to go get this guy to sign an IP assignment now. Well, 6 years later, what do you think he's going to ask for? A shit ton of money. Obviously, if he's smart, he'll ask you for the reasons why you're asking, and he'll learn that it's an M&A deal, and he'll ask for more money, right? He's got a ton of leverage at this point, right? And so, getting that sort of tied down at the very beginning is a big value add down the line when you go to sell the company, or there's any disputes of ownership, or people aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so I think that it's not a good idea to say that Clerky or these other things can get you covered, right? You want to go talk to a lawyer kind of on the outset. It's worth the cost. I know, like, you're at the very beginning, you're not cash flowing, you don't have much, money in the bank, and some lawyers like myself kind of defer payments over time. Like, I'm not so greedy where I think you need to pay me like the second. And so you work with someone that will work with you and get that value out, because it's really important when you start a business.
Yeah, and there's one stat, and I don't remember the exact number, but maybe Pranav. There's one stat that sort of solidifies why you should have attorney involved, and it's what's the percentage of deals that fall apart in due diligence? Do you know?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head, but like
I think what I heard was 80%.
Oops.
Yeah,
That's high.
Well, okay, so there's two different types of diligence, right? And so there's the legal diligence, and that usually comes after the financial diligence.
So yeah, I think I'm talking about financial. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the financial diligence, what usually comes up is like, you'll say you've got this massive EBITDA number or whatever, and like everyone's kind of like basing off these like financials that the seller prepared. And then, like the buyer will go in and hire like an accounting firm that'll go in and like really like test those numbers and stress test them. And they'll come up like with a different number. And then, they get back to the table and start negotiating purchase price and get back to like try to carve it down. And that's when deals usually die, is that like financial diligence piece. And then when you get to the legal diligence piece, usually with the legal diligence piece, from my experience, there are a few deal killers, but they're not many that you can't fix.
Sure.
You can fix it. It just costs a lot of money to fix it kind of down the line.
Yep. So you experienced the rain, you had your umbrella, we're here today. Looking back at the storm, the transition, is there anything that you would have done different?
Yeah, man, I wish I had kind of like this goal in sight, like from the beginning, right? I was like very focused on the work, like as soon as I got in. And so I did not have kind of this sort of like entrepreneur mindset. And if I did, I would have kind of moved a little differently, right? In terms of like building out my like client base kind of prospects early and often, building out my network early and often, being really intentional with like the matters that I work on, the kind of documents that I work with, putting myself out like more publicly earlier on to kind of build that following before I jumped out to do my own thing. I would have definitely done things a little differently, but with life, it's you're dealt the cards that you got to play with, and so I'm happy with the circumstances that I'm in right now, and it's really exciting.
With that, what advice would you give to someone just graduating and starting their career in this space?
I would say, roll up your sleeves, do the work, get all that good exposure. There are a ton of lessons to learn. Stick through it when things look really murky and that you can't, you feel like you're never going to get out. You will. Be okay with making mistakes. Like, people die over mistakes, like literally kill themselves. And don't be that person. Go ahead and make the mistake, learn from it, make another, keep learning. Nothing is the end of the world. Nothing will be super detrimental to your career. So unless you like commit malpractice, don't do that. And try to take on the risk of building a brand and building a client base. I think it's a really exciting prospect to go and be able to talk to clients, be able to help them, be able to like understand their pain points, to be able to effectively communicate with them. It's an important skill to have as a lawyer. So, don't be shy to go and try to get those reps and flex that muscle.
Awesome. All right, JR, I think we're ready for the lightning round.
Ooh, lightning round.
Yeah, we didn't share these questions with you.
We told you about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to put you on the spot. So the way this is going to work is JR and I are just going to take turns. We're going to ask you questions just off the wall, super random, not going to be related to law. Just a little bit of personal questions for the listeners to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
And feel free to fire back at us as well. We want to keep this light. Don't feel like any pressure or anything like that.
Pressure makes that.
So
RG3.
So I'll start. What's something that you do in your day-to-day that is monumental to you making it through each and every day. It could be something as little as reading a scripture, reading a article, putting your phone on do not disturb. What's something that you do every single day to help you make it through?
My 21-minute yoga meditation session. What's up, dude?
Ooh. Tell me more.
Is it online? Can we do it?
Yeah, it's called inner engineering. It's a really long process. It's super deep, very mystical. If you're into it, go try it out. If you're not, learn about it. But it's deep. It'll change your life. It changes your energies.
We'll put a link
every morning.
Yeah,
I do it like last night. I did it at like 12 p.m. and midnight. And so I'll do it in the midnight. In the morning, I'll do a different yoga session, and then I'll like walk with my kid like in the stroller, and then that's like a great start for my day.
Nice.
But the night meditation one is just like you get a second to observe all the different thoughts and all the different things that are like firing at you from kind of like imagine like you're able to like watch TV with your life kind of as the screen. And so it's a pretty awesome way to get perspective on all the different things that are happening in your own life and your own body.
That's awesome.
So Kris started out with a really meaningful question. Mine are kind of fucked up. All right, so here we go. Corn dog or Pronto Pup?
Okay, first of all, I don't even know what the second one is.
Yeah, same.
Dog.
Oh, really? Oh, is this a Minnesota thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Never heard of that in life.
a corn dog is like the hot dog dipped in cornmeal and deep fried, right?
On the
But
stick.
on a stick. Pronto Pup, same thing, on a stick, but it's dipped in pancake batter and then deep fried.
Oh, okay. Now, hearing that out loud, I'm probably going with the latter. Yeah. Give me that Pronto Pup.
Yeah, we
Some syrup on it. I'll go with that.
we tested this out at the Minnesota State Fair, which is a big deal around here. They were right across the street from each other. It was like a West Side Story, they're ready to fight each other. So we tried one from either side, and we decided on Pronto Pup for sure.
Oh, man, I'm forgetting the term, but like Texas has their own version of this. I'm just like forgetting what they call it, but it's fire too.
Interesting. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever heard of that, but it sounds amazing. Do you dip it in syrup or?
No, you put ketchup on it or mustard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what that would taste like.
Next August, I'm flying you guys out. We're going to the Minnesota State Fair. We're going to test this out, and we'll put it on the podcast next year.
Let's call it a board meeting. Let's call it a board meeting.
Yes.
I'll take the minutes. Yeah. You all.
This is why you need a lawyer, people. All right. Next lightning round question. I asked this to all of our guests. I know all of us are businessmen. We have a lot of clients that we travel for. So we're in and out of airports all the time. Are you listening to music on a plane? Are you reading a book? Are you working? Are you sleeping? Are you eating? What are you doing on a plane to get through your flight?
Man. All right. So obviously, if we're talking about all travel right now, like I've been
All travel.
kids, so it's been like entertaining them throughout the whole flight. And then when I get the second, it's like I'm just sitting there like, holy shit, what just happened? If I'm on like business travel, I'm usually working because I'm like highly productive when I'm traveling. Like I just pull the laptop off. If I need to write, read, like edit documents, or send out emails, I'm just super productive. So I'll do that rather than kind of anything else. How about you guys? JR, you travel the most. I want to hear what you do. I want to know your travel routine.
I try not to work on the plane. I go back to the time when we used to not have Wi-Fi, and it was so great because you didn't have to get pinged by emails or texts or whatever. And so I try to just load a couple of movies on my iPad, sit back and relax, and just have that time for me. That doesn't always work. It's either work or just watch a movie and chill out. But yes, flying with kids is a challenge. It's more fun now. Mine are 10 and 12 years old, so they just kind of like put the headphones in and zone out to a movie. But when they're little, man, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So put the 10 and the 12-year-old in coach and you and your wife.
Yeah. We haven't gotten there yet, but I like the way you're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm a movie guy, music guy, no work. I'm relaxing, enjoying myself. I'll work when I land. And
all right, but guys,
typically,
like, even if you're not working, sorry to cut you off, Kris. Even if you're not working, there's like studies that show that your brain's like working at like a high, like at its like highest power when you're at that altitude. So like they say you shouldn't be like You should be like writing or like reading or like being creative rather than like turning your brain off at that time when your brain's like at its most power.
Nope. I'm up there absorbing the radiation. That's all.
Yeah, I'm zoning out. And if I can sleep, I'm definitely going to sleep.
I've also never heard that stat. Really? You're most creative up in that altitude?
That's what someone will have to fact check me. Like, if there's a AI note taker on right now, do it. All right.
Okay, I have a 3-part question maybe. Are you an NFL fan?
For sure.
Okay. Who's your favorite NFL team?
Hail to the Commanders, baby.
Oh, okay. Have they won a Super Bowl?
Last one out, the year I was born, 92.
Okay. All right.
I think I read about it in a history book.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy for you to say, Chris.
Listen.
What's the greatest NFL team
next August
to never win a Super Bowl?
Oh, the Commanders last year.
That's the wrong answer.
You see what I have to deal with?
It's easily the 1998 Minnesota Vikings. Yeah.
Who was on that squad?
Good question. But 15-1, Gary Anderson misses his only field goal of the year in the NFC Championship game to the Falcons. We could have won that game. We would have won the Super Bowl. Also, early 2000s, Dante Culpepper, Vikings, maybe.
Randy Moss.
Yeah.
That was good. When
Yeah.
When you guys had Adrian Peterson, that was great. And the Vikings have been really good. Like last year was really interesting for you guys, actually. And then you let go of Darnold there, but he was doing his thing.
Till the playoffs, yeah.
Till the playoffs.
Yeah. You guys are always known to win a bunch of games, but it's like it all falls apart at some point at the end.
It sure does. Minnesota, I think Twin Cities is the longest standing city without a major sports championship. We haven't had one since 1991. That's baseball, hockey, NFL, all of them.
If you had to pick one of these things to do, tell me which one you'd rather do. Would you rather go to the jewelry store with Justin Jefferson or the barbershop with Anthony Edwards?
I just want to hang out with Ant for the antics. I'd go with Ant, not for the haircut, but for the antics. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to say Anthony Edwards too.
I don't think I can pull off
a
chain like Jets can. No, I just can't.
I don't know, man. You got a little Kirk Cousins in you.
You like that.
We could put a nice icy chain on you, and I think
nice. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Maybe lose the glasses. Oh man, no, that's great. So I know we're almost at time, guys, but Pranav, super amazing to have you on, providing all of your insights. Is there anything you want to share with the people before we sign off? Any words of wisdom, advice, gems you can drop, anything that you want to say to the listeners out there?
Reach out to me for all the gems.
Cool.
He's a man of a lot of knowledge.
Thank you, Pranav. It's been great. We'll put a link to your LinkedIn or however you want to be connected in the description here. But this is a pretty sweet way to start season 2.
Awesome, man. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. And, obviously, we'll keep the conversation going both online and offline.
Talk soon.
Most definitely.
All right. I guess.
Sideways rain hits every founder. Oh, we lost Pranav, so I lost the shot of Kris. Oh, we got sideways rain happening here. We'll go. Yeah, it happens live. You're going to have to just look at me and listen to Kris at this point. But sideways rain happens to everybody, every career. What matters is if you've got an umbrella or not. So and when you know how to use it. So that's what we're going to be about this season. We're going to try to be a little bit more structured about dealing with issues and not meandering. But as you know, we just talked about getting iced out with Justin Jefferson. So you never know where we're going to go.
Season 2's here, bringing thunder and flames. Sideways, rain hitting, but we played the game. Pranav in the house, big lord of the grind. Left the golden handcuffs, now he's free in his mind. Talk storms, umbrellas and clear sky views. Betting on yourself, that's the power move. Billable hours, man, that model's broke. AI's in the cut, giving lawyers smoke. Wife at his back, kids keeping him strong. Family and clients, that's the beat of his song. Corn dog or Pronto Pup, syrup or fries. Minnesota State Fair, gotta pick a side. Commanders on the field, Vikings heartbreak. But sideways rain,